Very, very proud of you, always proud of you. Win, lose or draw, you've done amazing things for Leeds, and you've inspired a lot of people, so I just want to say, whatever decision you make from here, I'm with you.
Thank you, appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
Josh, congratulations anyway. Just keep your head up, keep strong, do what you're doing. You make us proud, man. Leeds, I'm from Leeds as well, so yeah, we're here.
Tom, all right. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Any questions? Yeah, please.
Hi Josh, congratulations. I just wanted to ask, even though it ended in defeat for you today, are you sort of quite glad you took the fight and got that closure and closed that chapter with Lee?
Obviously I'm going to sulk a little bit because I'm a winner, and you know, even that I'm 35 now, 17 years deep into a professional career, had many brilliant nights, a lot worth, majority of them were matchroom. Yeah, I'm very much disappointed. Like, you know, here in my head, I had planned that, you know, we get a win tonight, trained super hard for the last 14 weeks, give me life and soul to the gym, as I always do. Roll back the years, looked in amazing shape, had a few sunbeds, got no hairline, straight teeth, and thought we looked good winning. We're going to turn around to Eddie and say, you know, let's go back to Leeds, because I know it's trickling his eye tonight when he, you know, his Leeds fans singing and stuff, and go back and have one more crazy night, you know, that maybe we could sing champions again, you know, European title and all that, but I don't know, I was some stuff off it bad tonight, off it bad, and I wanted it, I really wanted it, but the snap, a bit of fire inside, and just missing. So yeah, frustrating.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, you talked about, you know, hearing the fans making all that noise. Does that sort of tempt you to carry on and perhaps have you know, that another night in Leeds and perhaps end on a big high?
Yeah, it's always tempting. It's always tempting. That's for sure. But I'd have to convince my old man. I'd have to convince my missus. I'd have to convince those close to me, because you know, it's one thing getting out there. And this week I felt alive, and I've kind of forgot what the feeling is when you're buzzing and you're speaking and you get adrenaline rushes because you're ready to fire in all cylinders, and then you're sat alone in your hotel room but you're shiting yourself at the same time because you know what could potentially happen. There's no feeling like it, and this is why the boxers do carry on, and sometimes a little bit too long. And I don't want to become one of them fighters, you know. Today in my hotel room, there's moments where I hear that feeling. I hear that feeling of being in there, where of what not knowing what's to come. But today I'm like, I can't do this many more times. You know, I thought to myself when I left my hotel room, it'll be all fucking over in a few hours, and I'll be buzzing. I'll be saying, why did you shit yourself earlier? Not to be scared about, and it's all part of the process. But like I say, I've been headlining shows for over 12 years now, and it's, you know, I've had 3 kids, and I don't know, it's a bit of inactivity over the last few years with the big gaps in between the fights. It's probably taxed a little bit off me, but yeah, I've got some serious thinking to do going forward, but probably I'll make a decision sooner rather than later.
Cheers, Josh.
Josh, first of all, commiserations. Lee Wood said that he saw a much better version, a much more improved version of you in the ring tonight.
Yeah.
What did you make of Lee tonight, and did you feel like he was as tough as the first night?
I'll be honest with you, I think I was mentally better prepared. I know that sounds like I'm contradicting myself because of what I just talked about with all the stuff and go through a bit of a battle in the hotel room, but I think coming off the Lopez fight now, you know, I haven't really had much of a conversation with Eddie, but you know, when you rewind back to that year 2022, I beat Kiko Martinez, I'm world champion again. All I've got to do is get past Luis Alberto Lopez, and you know, then we can be looking at a unification fight again, and the big dreams on, you know, go to America and all that stuff. But there was a moment in that fight where I walked, me and you walked backstage, and we were walking towards the stage, and I went to go home. I wanted to go home because, you know, I mean, I had nightmares for weeks and weeks about me for the jaw. I had some real bad times preparing for that fight with fucking sleepless nights, and one of my sparring sessions, one specialist said, like, you have to be careful, it's still relatively only just healed, and if it breaks again, it's going to be life-changing. And I'm like, what do you mean life-changing? Like, you're never going to be the same again. Like, well, what, in case of what? So I carried them frighteners into that fight, and I think that's why I started so slow. 8 or 9 months later, I fight Lee Wood down in Sheffield, and I think the majority of that build-up is I wanted to just feel like me again. And then, but I did carry a little bit of anxiety going into the first couple of rounds, and I think you could see that for the first 2 rounds. I'm on my back foot. Today, I've trained super hard. I feel super strong at super featherweight. I've against Kachi a couple of years ago, I felt maybe he were a level above me in terms of like physicality. Today I didn't feel like we would. You know, I felt like a solid super featherweight, but I felt like I could see a lot of things that he were doing, but I couldn't let the trigger go, man. I couldn't let the trigger go, and I kept going back to the corner, half knowing that I'm going to get a ball licking up my old man, half knowing what he's going to pick me up on, but yeah, it's one of the more frustrating things. You know, with the game plans we've worked on, we're more or less there, but it's won't come in.
Josh is it?
Josh, there was a moment after the fight where you were in the corner and you were looking up at the fans. You just describe your emotion at that moment.
Oh yeah, I mean, bottom lip started trembling. You know, when you've got people spending their hard-earned money, some people that might be into the bloody overdraft or taking a loan to come to the fight. I know I've been in that position before, and some of these guys have followed me miles and miles and miles, and they've sacrificed so much, you know, weddings, funerals, you know, birthdays, just to be and support me. It's like, you know, 4 losses pride going into this fight, and they're still behind me, chanting and cheering and singing my name, and it's like, you know, if this were the last one, it's one thing that any professional athlete, it all stops, and then you don't get them moments again, and it's scary to think about that. You know, these are some of the greatest moments that you have in your life, and I'm not saying that my life's going to end now. You know, I've got 3 beautiful kids and a wife, and you know, I'm going to make some more memories, and essentially, you know, do more stuff in the sport, boxing outside of the ring. But that moment when you're in the ring and everyone's, it's all about you, then it's a surreal feeling. I can't ever put into words of how that feels to be, especially at one point, long before Eddie knew who we were, and I would struggling to sell 40 tickets to Bolton football ground when I was fighting on Frank Maloney, not Kelly Maloney. When I fight on them shows, it's mad to think that, you know, we've sold out Leeds Arena 12 times, we've done Ellen Road, we've done Headingley Stadium, we've done Wembley, and like, yes, it's 2 headline shows in other cities.
You just said that if this is the end, would you follow your dad into coaching, or would you be managing TV? What would you want to do to stay in the sport?
Acting as well.
Corrie, Emmerdale, Hollyoaks, give me a shout. Guy Ritchie has quoted and said, listen, I'm in the wrong job. But yeah, I don't know, I think I'm doing a bit of work with my manager, VIP promotions. You know, I'd like to carry on doing bits and bits of that. Don't know if I've got the patience for training just yet, because I know that what is needed from a fighter, and I feel that if I went into training, I'd put 100% effort in, and I'd be obsessed, and if they didn't put the same effort in, then I'd be fucking upset. Very upset.
Just in the middle.
Question for Sean. Josh got a lot of thinking to do now, obviously. He told us all before the fight the numbers he was hitting, and look, I was witness to a lot of it as well. He's trained hard, but if this is the end, sort of, how do you reflect on what's been a movie career for him? He's come a long way.
I think he's been a fantastic ambassador, not just for boxing, but for the City of Leeds itself. I think there comes a time where you've got to be realistic. You know, he's just lacking that 10-15% tonight. Preparation went well, sparring were well, everything were in place, and I just won't get in it. Just won't get in it tonight. So I think there comes a time where, you know, like I say, as a fighter, they know themselves. You can't tell them when they're done. They've got to experience it, and they've got to tell you when they're done. I think he's realising now, you know, but fantastic career, 17 years as a professional. Massive thanks to Eddie and Matchroom. You know, I mean, he's come out of it very, very well. Changed lives, you know. All out of Eddie, Matchroom, careful management. He's had a fantastic career. I think what we're going to do now, we're going to do a little bit of fishing in summer. A little bit of golf. And see what happens. No, I think, to be honest, I would like to see him stop now. I think realistically, and you've got to be realistic because, you know, it's a dangerous sport. Done very well, fantastic ambassador for the sport itself. I think it's time now to wrap it up. Still be involved in boxing in other ways, you know.
Josh, just following up from what we were talking about before, you said about the anxiety after the broken jaw going in to the next fight. Obviously, with what happened in the last fight, was there a bit of anxiety going into tonight as well?
Are we talking about like Kakachi?
Yeah, and then going into this one.
Yeah.
No, sorry, with what happened in the Leawood fight going into.
Probably not as much. I think. I think around this getting off the stuff going into 7th round. I think someone whispered into my ears, "Oh, it's 7th round here. Make sure it doesn't happen again." But no, I think after the first little bit, I felt that no matter what we were going to throw, I had a better focus on the defence and stuff like that. I felt like interestingly enough, again something I never really spoke about when he caught me in the 7th round of our first fight. He actually hit me on the plate where I'd made broken jaw off Kiko Martinez, and I had my plate removed about 3 weeks after that, and it had all become infected. So I don't know if that was a weaker spot. I don't know, but yeah, I certainly felt that this time around I'd no like fears in terms of that sense. Yeah.
Josh, just from me, obviously, when you hear Sean talking about this possibly being, or he'd rather, see you end your career tonight, I don't imagine you can, or anyone in here could imagine you continuing without him in your corner.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that's maybe, this is the last time we see the Leeds Warrior in the ring?
Well, again, I need to have another little chat with him because I don't think he wanted me to carry on after Kakachi, but I managed to be able to convince him. We had he didn't want me to have the acid can one, which came at short notice, but again, I managed to convince him for that one. We got through that and then got back into the gym, and I was rolling back the years with some of my sparring partners and bits and bits of training. But yeah, obviously we need to, he's making a lot of his feelings known right now in front of you guys, but we need to have a real chat. But probably I will listen to him this time round. But yeah, let's not make any immediate decisions just yet.
Well, thanks everyone. I just want to say, Josh, how proud we are of you every time. Unbelievable.
Sorry to cut you off there, I know you like to talk. But you know what, like for many years, I probably haven't grown as you, as many other fighters do, but I just want to say, on me, mate, thank you very much. The first term we had with you guys, absolutely fantastic. We had some great memories in Leeds with the vitamins, the European, going over to Berlin, come back to Leeds with a few more runs there. Obviously, then I jumped ship. I am sorry about that, but come back and we had some other good nights. The Kiko Martinez one especially, and thank you, mate. I appreciate
thank you. You've given British boxing the run you went on. It's been incredible, and you are a great of this generation. You really are.